Hello everyone. This topic is on understanding and planning reports and proposal. So what I hope to accomplish at the end of the lesson here is to be able to make you understand these five learning outcomes. The first one is the use of the three-step writing process in developing reports and proposal. We actually have discussed the three-step writing process in the previous chapter. The second one is to explain the process for conducting business research. The third one is to basically discuss what is primary research and what is secondary research. And in here I will also be discussing online research tools. The fourth one is to explain to you the types of reports that normally organization produces, and what basically are the purpose. And the last one is to explain how to plan proposals. So in the previous chapter, you learn how to use a three-step writing process to write a business message, shorter business messages. Now we will discuss how those similar skills can be applied to longer business messages. So longer business messages, we're talking about proposal. Yeah, just an example. In this particular slide, I'll be talking about typical reports that organizations normally produce. There are three: informational, analytical, and proposal. Informational reports offer data and facts, as well as feedback and other types of information. However, these are produced without any analysis or recommendation. It's merely for information. Now, the purpose of this informational report is to monitor and control. Yeah. So, for example, an organization wants to implement a new policy. So they need to look at the data and facts, okay, and the feedback from employees, like what's the number of employees that may agree or not agree with the new implementation of a policy. Yeah. So also this is a document. Yeah. It documents the progress of a certain issue in an organization as well. Now the next one is analytical. Analytical offers both information analysis that includes recommendation. So the purpose is to assess opportunities, solve problems, and also to support decisions. And the last one is proposal. Proposal, it can be to internal or external audiences. All right, so basically proposals, it involves investments and purchases. That's why the reason to provide recommendation, because the need to at the end of the day, the need to be able to decide, okay, do I want to invest in this, do I want to purchase or not, what's the recommendation. Yeah, so this is proposal. These are the typical reports that you can find out there: informational, analytical, and proposals, and these are normally used by organizations. What to consider when preparing a report. So in the next slide, I'll be talking to you about the process to consider when you prepare a report. So these are guidelines. Yeah, the first one is analyzing the situation. So there is a need to compose a statement of purpose. What is the purpose of the report? Yeah, what is the purpose of report? We need to pay attention to what is the purpose, because when this actually explains why you are preparing the report, and what do you hope to accomplish, or what do you hope to plan? What do you hope to plan in delivering the report? what are your plans? Yeah. And to state a purpose, normally it is good to use infinitive phrase. Yeah. So examples of infinitive phrase include to confirm, to analyze, to inform. These are strong infinitive phrase. It sets a stage. It makes the audience focus on what is important in the report. Okay, so the next, moving on to the next one here, gathering information. So how do you gather information? Of course, to begin with, we need to know what the audience require, what are their needs. In the previous chapter, we talked about being audience-centered. Yeah, so we said that we need to adapt to the you attitude. So it's similar in here. We need to know what the audience needs so that we can look for the right kind of information to feed or to put in the proposal. Yeah, or to answer the statement of purpose. So gathering information is the second one in here, and the third one is selecting the right combination of media and channels. So how do we deliver our report? What kind of channel? Yeah, do we need feedback from the audience? What are their preference? Do they prefer it written, or do they prefer it delivered face-to-face, presented face-to-face, or do they just require it emailed to them? Okay, so what is the feedback preference? In media choice, it has to do with the delivery of the report. Do we want it to be nicely presented, as in we want to invest in the design of the report? Yeah, some report may be very straightforward, and that's what the audience actually require. They do not want a what is this? They do not want you to invest in designs and whatnot, because they just want a simple, straightforward report which works fine for them. Now, the last one is organizing the information. Organizing information, we can use two approaches in here. The first one is direct and the other one is indirect. Direct approach are easy to follow, and it's often considered as efficient. Yeah. For those audience who are quite receptive and open-minded, they may want a direct approach. Yeah. And for the audience who is not quite ready, or we are not quite ready to accept the idea, yeah, without evidence. Yeah, some clients may want what is this, may not be ready to accept our idea. Okay, that this is the basic idea and this is just a proposal, and evidence would come later. So some audience may not want this, so we can use an indirect approach when it comes to audience like this. So in the next couple of slides, we're going to be talking about the process of conducting business research, and as well as evaluating the credibility of the sources of information. Before we move on to our discussion, let's have a look at this very short video clip on the importance of conducting a research. Let's have a look. particular slide is focused on effective research. So these are just steps that you can consider when doing your research. The first one is planning your research. How do you plan your research? First of all, we need to develop a problem statement. Problem statement will define the purpose of your research, the decision you need to make, or conclusion you need to reach at the end of the process. So what do we need in order to develop this problem statement? We need information, relevant information, and with the relevant information we can generate certain research questions that help us answer the problem. Now, the second one in here is locating data and information. How do we locate data and information that's required for our research? Two ways to do this, and this is a typical research method. The first one is secondary research. The second one is primary research. Secondary research is having to readily use information that's already been used for a different purpose. So normally this saves time, but again, the use of secondary research, it depends on the kind of research that you are doing. Primary research has to do with the use of interviews, surveys, and as well as observation. Yeah, these face-to-face, having to meet the audience on a face-to-face basis, and having to ask them questions and whatnot. The third one is evaluating information sources. So in here we're looking at credibility. Okay, so we have the information via secondary research. So how do we determine the credibility of the research? So we do verification. We can do it independently. Okay, and we also want to find out whether this piece of journal or article, let's say, do we want to use the whole of the journal or just a partial, some part of the journal only. So we need to be able to verify this because it has to do with the credibility of the information. Yeah. And the next one is quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. Now the purpose of this quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing is to avoid plagiarism. We need to cite sources where we got them, because we need to provide credits to the authors. Okay, if we don't do this, then this is considered plagiarism, and this would not be good for our proposal. It may be rejected. The credibility is not that reliable. Yeah. So the last one is conclusion and recommendation. In conclusion, normally we interpret the facts, the findings from our research. We then conclude these findings. Yeah. Now when we have interpretation, we can recommend. Okay, what do you do with the facts now? Okay, so we recommend 1, 2, 3. This I recommend that this such and such. So this is an effective research. So you may want to consider really looking into this, because it does help at the end of the day. Now the next discussion is focused on secondary research and online research tools. Secondary research, like as we know from the video that we have just watched, yeah, secondary data are materials previously created for another purpose, but they are equally important in getting our proposal ready or report ready. So secondary data, normally we can find data that we can find from the from the library. For example, newspapers or periodicals, books, statistics. You can also find government publication and other databases. So these secondary data, these are useful in getting our proposal or a report ready. Now the next one in here is online search tools. We may want to consider one or two of online search tools in conducting our business research. So we have three in here: web directories, meta search engines, and online databases. Web directories are actually updated by people, human editors. They categorize information and they evaluate websites. So these are credible. We can use this to we can include this in developing our proposal or report. Yeah. And the second one, meta search engines. This is basically formatting search requests and recording hits. Okay, the more hits for a certain key terms, that basically indicates that, okay, the reliability of that of the information. Yeah, so this is meta search engines. Then the next one in here is online databases. Online databases, basically database that we can easily access online. So we have journals, magazines, and newspapers that can easily be accessed online. So this saves time, and okay, they are easy to use, and easy to search as well. So moving on, online monitoring tools. What are online monitoring tools? So this is one of the tools that we can actually use to get information. Okay, we get information automatically. For example, when you subscribe news feeds. So news feeds provider actually websites or blogs. Yeah, so what happens is, if you subscribe to their news feeds, you'll get automatically get information or details on information that you require. So this is subscribing to news feeds. The next one is following people on Twitter. Now, people on Twitter, they are rather focused. Yeah, they tweet about a specific subject of their interest. So this can be quite handy. So you may want to follow people on Twitter that has the same interest as what you're researching on. The next one is setting up online alerts. This is basically to track a mention of specific companies or terms. So for example, you want to keep track on the mention of a company called let's say Adidas. Yeah, so with these specialized monitors, what they provide is all information regarding Adidas will be specifically monitored, and it will be sent directly to you. So this is kind of handy as well, and okay, because this saves time. Getting these specialized monitors saves times, and not only using specialized monitors to get time, but setting up online alerts, following people on Twitter, or subscribing to news feeds. These are new type of monitoring tools, and they are online. It can be easily done.